So for the next few weeks I am staying indoors, only going out to snap up essential groceries and Family Mart fried chicken. And one of the last things I did before I locked myself away was go out on my biannual clothes shopping trip. Now, as you can probably tell, I don't really do fashion or style or anything particularly good, but I did buy my new favourite shirt, complete with an English phrase that defines not only who I am, but what I believe in. And that is this: has high functionality. Has high functionality. I wear it with pride, especially when I go down the gym. People are picking up 500 kilogram weights. You might be able to lift a truck, but do you have high functionality? Probably not. I do. Simply put, it is the best shirt that I've ever bought, down the 100 yen store. But as I am indoors this month, I thought I'd do a very rare Q&A video, answering questions sent in by you guys. I think it's the first time I've done this in about 2 or 3 years now, covering everything from life in Japan to YouTube to personal experiences, answered with brutal honesty. We'll also be reading out comment of the week and hate mail of the week, because not everybody is nice. I'd like to think by the end of this Q&A experience, hopefully we'll know a lot more about each other, about existence, about the very essence of what makes life so special and so unique. Let's jump in. What's your favourite colour of the alphabet? Mine's triangle. Oh, for fuck's sake. What was the strangest thing you've seen in Japan? Alright, so this next bit isn't entirely family friendly, so look away from the screen for 3 seconds if you have to. I'll give you a warning. So there's a little district in Shinjuku called Golden Guy. It's a little collection of bars down these alleyways. It looks like a cyberpunk dystopian futuristic setting. It is a bit of a tourist trap, so be careful if you do go there. They do tend to overcharge you for certain things. But there is a good bar, a charming establishment simply called Deathmatch in Hell. If you like death metal or horror movies, the place is absolutely covered in them, and the guy that runs it is a really nice guy, really nice dude. But imagine you've sat down for a drink or two and you're munching away on the complimentary popcorn, which comes with the place, and then you decide you need to go to the toilet, so you make your way towards the back of the shop, and there in the corner, on your way, you come face to face with, look away now, whatever the fuck that is. I remember seeing that and thinking, oh wow, I'm really glad I came here. But once you've seen it, you can't unsee it, so I'm sorry for that. Yoda with a chopped up arm will forever be in your nightmares. Welcome to the club. What has your dating life been like in Japan? Oh dear. Underwhelming. Out of the food challenges you've done, which one do you regret the most? So I have done 4 food challenges over the years, and 3 of them were actually pretty good. I remember them quite fondly. There was the Monster Ramen Challenge, where Natsuki and I sat down to eat a mountain of ramen. There was the Wanko Soba Noodle Challenge, where we had to eat over 100 bowls of soba noodles. And then there was Fried Chicken Mountain, where I had to eat a small mountain of fried chicken. And they're dining experiences and memories that I shall treasure forever. And then there is one so traumatic and unpleasant that thinking about it makes me feel physically sick. The Monster Gyoza Dumpling Challenge, where Natsuki and I sat down for an hour and attempted to eat the world's largest dumpling. I mean, it was so large, Natsuki tried to cut the damn thing with a sword, no less, a sword. But there's a fine line between hilarity and horror, and whilst initially it started off in good humour, by the end of it, both Natsuki and I spent the rest of the day being sick. It wasn't fun, it wasn't good. For heaven's sake, stay away from that godforsaken dumpling. Don't do it to yourself. Will I find my sock? I've got one here, but the other one, I just don't know where it is. No, you won't find your sock. It is all downhill from here, sorry. Okay, I'm going to ask a stupid question. Out of all the instant noodles available in Japan, which one do you consider to be the best? It's a well-known fact that I can't cook. And when I'm not sitting in a corner, munching on a loaf of bread, I do like to indulge in a bucket of dried sodium. Now, Japan's got more instant noodle brands than you could possibly comprehend. And I have to say, my favourite brand is still the standard cup noodles, which kicked it all off 50, 60 years ago now. The flavour's best described as soy sauce with seafood and meat. It's just all over the place, really. But basically just tastes like salt. Just pour in the boiling water, stir away, and enjoy your healthy, nutritious lunch. So for this next one, I can't work out if it's a comment, a question, or a sales pitch. Here we go, let's find out. Hashtag ask abroad, hashtag ask a road. Hello Chris, you are visit Japan. I am. Wow, that's great. Japan is so safe country. You're welcome. I like Japanese miso shiru. Oh, Japanese miso soup, yeah. It's the delicious breakfast with rice and fish house made. Fish house made? Almost foreign people like you can enjoy Japanese miso shiru and have pantothenic acids. Oh, you had me at pantothenic acids. Please eat Japanese miso shiru by all means. I'm sure you'll say, it's delicious. Thank you always, love Japan. And what do you think about chopstick?
I like chopsticks, they're good, aren't they?
Can you use? oh fuck. Fight, Chris, fight! Do you want to know the awkward truth? I've just realised I had the chopsticks round the wrong way the entire time. So clearly I can't use chopsticks. I take that back. What a charming young man. I leave this comment feeling not only confused, but with a deep longing for pantothenic acids. Whatever the heck they are. Silly question here. What fictional children's character scared you the most as a child? Haha. There is one character in particular that scared me as a child. And as I've grown older and as the years have gone by, what's worried me is the fact that no one else seems to find this character scary. I feel like I'm the only one, and I find that quite troubling. And I'm of course talking about E.T., because look at his face. Since the age of about 3 years old onwards, I've had daily nightmares about E.T. His big creepy eyes, the way he waddles, the fact that he looks like a walking, talking piece of mud. For my entire childhood, I had nightmares that E.T. was in the closet, and so I just was scared opening it and getting my clothes out. Maybe that's why I don't care about clothes or fashion, because I was worried I'd find E.T. in the wardrobe. People would say, oh, he's not scary. Look, Chris, he can make a bicycle fly. Oh, fuck a doodle do. We should have brought him along for Journey Across Japan. I'll be right here. No, you fucking won't. Get back on your spaceship. Thankfully, as a 29-year-old man, I'm no longer scared of E.T. I've got over it last year. And as I said, these days I feel more scared about the fact that I was the only one that found him creepy or scary. It made me wonder if I'm different. Am I alone? Like E.T. was in the film. So if you find him scary, let me know. Let me know that I'm not alone in this terrible, scary world. How do Japanese people view displays of affection, particularly by foreign people? With a mixture of horror and disgust. No, actually, a lot of couples here do hold hands and kiss in public. They wouldn't be surprised to see foreigners doing anything like that. I think the only time you might get stared at is if you're doing French kissing at the side of the road or on a train or something. But other than that, don't worry about it. Go ahead as normal. When will he post a video featuring both Natsuki and Risotto? We've been teased enough. Alright, I promise you, if you make it to the end of this video, I will reveal a clip of Natsuki and Ryotaro having a battle with a sword. And I'm not making it up, it's genuinely there. The only thing I ask is that you try and guess who you think is going to win the battle between Natsuki and Risotto. It's coming up, so stick around to watch it. But for now, it's time for Comment of the Week. Fuck the Japan! I'm going to Russia! Alright. When looking for an apartment to rent as a foreigner, are there any surprises or hidden fees you have to be careful of before renting? Does discrimination count as a surprise? If you don't already know, many apartments in Japan have a no foreigners policy when it comes to renting. I always thought this was exaggerated. I thought people were playing it up until I moved to Sendai and had kind of first-hand experience of this. I found my dream apartment on a real estate website and I called them up. When they found out that I was British, when I found out I was a foreigner, they sort of said, no, not happening, sorry, no amount of fish and chips and Harry Potter can get you this apartment, go away. And that was the end of that. Now there's a few reasons this happens. Number one is 97% of the people in Japan are Japanese. It's quite rare for a foreigner to actually ring you up and ask to be your tenant, and it's a lot more common for a foreign tenant to just run off and leave the country with an unpaid bill than it is for a Japanese person. So that is why it's seen as being a bit risky. But if you do move here and you've got a company helping you out, they will act as your guarantor and they will help you get an apartment, and that often gets around that situation. Chris, I has a pizza. Do you has a pizza? No, I has a noodles. But while we're on the subject of food, what is the absolute number one, the cream of the crop, the absolute unit, the absolute extra most bestest restaurant you've been to in Japan? Given I can only cook toast and cup noodles, pretty difficult to do, I do eat out at restaurants quite a lot, and there's always been one that stood out in my mind as being the best or the most memorable, and that is a teppanyaki grill restaurant in the city of Morioka called Wakana. I went there about 3 or 4 years ago with Natsuki, and we had this beautiful locally sourced cut of miso beef. But even now, 3 or 4 years later, I remember the way it kind of melted and dissolved in my mouth like butter. And even though I've eaten just about every cut of Wagyu beef since, that is still my favourite by far. It was so good, words couldn't do it justice. But fortunately, Natsuki invented an entire new phrase in order to describe it.
In one word, one English word, how would you describe it?
Justice delicious.
2 words.
Justice delicious.
That doesn't even make sense. Justice delicious.
Justice delicious. It's art in the world.
Could you dive into the whole cheating is okay or less bad in Japan controversy? If you're not familiar with it, in Japan, cheating seems to be a lot less frowned upon and more common than in any other culture in the world. So I recently saw a survey that said 30% of guys cheat on their girlfriends or their wives. I can't pretend like I'm an expert on this subject, I can only speak from experience and what I've observed, but it does seem to be pretty common, just because Japan does have that kind of service industry in a way that we don't have in the UK or the US, I think, where there are hostess bars and kabakura, where you pay for women to sit with you, pour your drinks, talk with you, flirt with you, and often you can go beyond that. And there is an industry called Soapland, where you can pay for massages and more. I haven't done it, so I can't speak from experience. The reason numbers aren't higher of people admitting to cheating, I think, is because they wouldn't necessarily class it as cheating. They would say it's just a service, right? You're going in for a service. There's a show recently on Netflix called My Husband Won't Fit. And yes, it is what you think. The artwork on Netflix does make that abundantly clear. But the show seems to propagate the image that it's okay to cheat on your partner as long as you don't become emotionally attached to the person you are cheating with. But I tend to find younger couples are less tolerant towards that kind of attitude. And as divorce rates have climbed in recent decades, it's become a great way to destroy your marriage and get your partner to hate you. So bear that in mind. And while we're on the subject of hate, it's time for Hate Mail of the Week.
Go fuck yourself.
You look like a retarded version of Elon Musk. I can see Frankie Muniz at a push, and I can certainly see Robert Downey Jr. definitely. But Elon Musk, not even Elon Musk, a retarded Elon Musk. I don't see it at all, and I'm pretty certain you don't either. Right? Anyway, with that in mind,
Go fuck yourself.
and if you do like that Natsuki sound effect, you can download it for free on abroadinjapan.com. We do have a soundboard there with the aforementioned Justice Delicious as well.
Oh, number one, Justice Delicious.
Download it and use it as your alarm clock. Fun for the whole family. What are 3 things you still don't understand about Japan, even after living there for years? Alright, 3 things, here we go. Number 1, breakfast. We all know Japan has some of the most decadent cuisine on earth, prepared to perfection and presented like artwork. And then there's breakfast, which is last night's cold fish with some rice and a side dish of some sort of fermented atrocity. Maybe I'm biased because I'm from the UK and a fried breakfast is my favourite thing on earth, my favourite dish or meal full stop. But do yourself a favour and save some money. If you're staying in Japan at a hotel, never get the breakfast. Just go to 7-Eleven, get some bread, or just eat a tree, anything. Just don't get the breakfast. That's number 1. Japanese breakfast, awful. I don't get why. Number 2 is proofreading. And I don't count that as an example. Has high functionality. That's just a slightly odd mistranslation. What I'm talking about is this tea towel, for example. I bought this tea towel the other day. There's probably 100,000 units of this product that have been made, right? And it's got little cakes on it. It's quite nice. And it has written on it, Creamy Dreams. Creamy Dreams. I don't know what that means, but it sounds kind of nice. Problem is, it doesn't say Creamy Dreams, it says Cleamy Dreams. Cleamy Dreams. Which is a small error that could have been corrected by asking literally anyone on earth to proofread that. Next example, this denim pencil case. Now I know what you're probably thinking, wow, wish I had a denim pencil case. And it is great. It is as great as you can imagine it to be. But on this pencil case, it has a little motivational quote, a little uplifting message, and it says, a true friend is someone who accepts your past, supports your present, and encourages your future. Which I think is kind of nice. I'm not really sure where it's going, but it's nice, it makes sense. Except it doesn't, because it doesn't say that. It says, a true friend is someone who accepts you past, supports your preset, and encourages future. Supports your preset. What does that even mean? I'd understand if your friend is a robot or some sort of android, but it doesn't really make much sense, does it? Again, probably 100,000 units of this made. Would have taken a native English speaker maybe 5 seconds to correct that. Didn't bother. Don't get it. Don't know why. And number 3 is a pretty obvious one and won't come as a surprise, and that is squat toilets. I don't understand them. Why do we still have a hole in the ground? Given that this is a country that has pioneered the most futuristic, incredible toilets with lasers and sprays and excitement. There's nothing worse than needing the toilet, walking into a cubicle and seeing that atrocity in the ground.
What even is it? How does it work? There's not even any toilet paper. Why? What is this? Why? Why would this happen?
Why are there still squat toilets? I've never met anyone who said, yes, let's use a squat toilet, I enjoy it. Even Japanese people, I've never met anyone to this day, so I don't understand them, and I look forward to the day that they're all gone. And those are the 3 things I've yet to understand about Japan. If If you were stuck on an island with either Ryotaro or Natsuki, who would be more useful? Well, that's a no-brainer. Ryotaro would be far more useful because you could kill him and then use his corpse as a kind of rudimentary sailing boat and escape to safety. I don't think anybody could ever bring themselves to kill Natsuki, so yeah, Ryotaro. Would you like to consider this as a monthly segment for your channel? I'd love to. I enjoy doing Q&A videos, but I just find they don't do that well. If this video gets 30,000 likes, I'll do another one in May, I promise. Will we ever get a Natsuki the Movie sequel? Or perhaps a Ryotaro the Movie? I'll be blunt, Ryotaro's a good friend and a great guy, but I don't feel he has a story to tell as such. Unless we went to Italy in search of the history of risotto, the adventures of Risotto. It could just work. But I am currently considering doing another documentary on Natsuki about his addiction to smoking, because Natsuki is probably, I think, in the top 1% of the smokers in the world, given he smokes a pack a day of really strong Marlboro Red cigarettes. I mean, in Natsuki the Movie opened with him saying, "This is my breakfast: coffee, a cigarette, and 2 cigarettes," and that's pretty much all you need to know. Addiction's a serious thing though, and I don't know if Natsuki could stop, but even if there's just a small chance that we could do it, I feel like it would be worthwhile, because it could save his life later on down the line. So I'm currently exploring that and I'm weighing it up, and your thoughts and feedback on that could sway my decision on whether or not I go ahead with it. So let me know, I'll be keeping an eye out in the comments. And while we're on the subject of Natsuki and Ryotaro, it's time for the battle to the death. Who do you think's going to win? Say their name out loud now, Natsuki or Ryotaro? Alright, let's find out who wins the battle.
What I want to see.
Sad ending there, and perhaps a glimpse of what it'd be like to be stuck on an island with Ryotaro. That is all for now though, guys. A huge thanks to everybody who sent in their questions. There will be another Q&A potentially next month, depending on how this one does. But as I said, I will be indoors for the next few weeks, for the next month or so, maybe more. And there goes the noodles, so thank God the lid was on. But all jokes and sarcasm aside, please be careful, guys, no matter where you might be in the world right now. It's a very strange time, and my thoughts go out to any of you who have been personally affected by it, so please be careful. But as always, many thanks for watching, and I hope to see you next time. I'm off to prepare my dinner, which is this. Obviously the cup noodle, that was my lunch. This is my dinner. It's pretty bleak, isn't it? It's pretty bleak indeed.